Hi guys, I am back with another video, and today's video I have a lot of books surrounding me right now. You're probably like, why? Another book haul? No, I'm on a book buying ban. No books have been purchased, but I do still have a lot of books around me, and they are the books that I've read so far this year. I think we're around like 38, 30 something. You know what, let's check Goodreads. We're around that mark, the 30 something. I have read 36 books out of 65. You see, my challenge is 65 books this year, and girl, we are halfway there. We are halfway there, as Big Time Rush would say. Anyways, I have almost all of the books right here, right next to me. Shall I show you? I think I shall. Yes, right next to me, because I want to show you guys, you know? You guys may have just saw my dog. She's doing her thing. She's doing her thing. Anyway, let me go through all of the books I have read this year. I do have it in my notes because I did read some books on Kindle. So I do not have them with me, but so I'm just going to I'm going to just say those if I don't have them. But yeah, first book I read was Scarred by Emily McIntyre, Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, The Nanny by Lana Ferguson, The Deal by Elle Kennedy, Room by Emma Donoghue, I think her name is, Curse of the Wolf King by Tisonia Odette. Yes, that is her name. I had to make sure I was not saying her name wrong because I would feel bad. City of Bones? Yeah. City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. My Entire Heart, as we all know. Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Flawless by Elsie Silver. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Heartless by Elsie Silver. The Night Shift by Annie Crown, I think her name is. Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. ASAP by Axio. Nope. Yes. The City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. In the Weeds by B.K. Borson. Was this after or directly after? Nope. Powerless by Elsie Silver. The Riley Effect by Nicole Marie, I think her name was. I don't remember. Once I show like the little picture, you guys will be able to see. But I think her name is Nicole Marie. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. 1922 by Stephen King. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Almond by Wan Pyung-shun. The Name Drop by Susan Lee. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Felix Ever After by Kason Calendar. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Andre and Santi Were Here by Johnny Garza Villa. Beach Read by Emily Henry. And lastly, The Silent Patient by Alex McLadies. So far, those are all of the 36 books that I've read this year. When I'm filming this, it is, let's see, July 7th. Can you guys see that? July 7th. So it is the middle of the year, and I think I've done pretty good for reading 36 books by this time. I think I've done great. But now I'm just gonna go through and answer all the questions that we have for this mid-year book tag, okay? You guys are going to get all of the tea. All of the tea. But yeah, I'm gonna situate these books and then we will get on to the questions. Okay, so now we're gonna be getting into all of the questions for this book tag. Hopefully you can't hear my brother. His room is right next to me and he's playing the game right now, so hopefully you can't hear that. But I do have some questions for this mid-year book tag. And yeah, so the first question is, how many books have you read this year so far? I'm filming this on a different day than I filmed the first part of this video, and I think in the first part I was like, oh, I read 36 books. I finished a book since then, so I'm now on 37 books. So yeah, 37 books by, what's today? What's the date? It is July 9th. So 37 books by July 9th. I am proud of that. I'm very proud of that. Next question is the best books that you have read in 2024. So I have read quite a bit of books in 2024. Obviously, I feel like I've talked about all of these books in a wrap-up so far. The first book is Almond by Won Byung-chun. I read about this book when I first read it, and in my wrap-up, like, I think this could be beneficial to anyone who wants to learn more about emotions and how emotions affect how you think and how you react to things and your actions. I think this is a really beneficial book to anyone, honestly, at any age, at any time in your life. I think this would be a good book to read. It's very much a coming of age story because you're following a young kid until he is older, and he suffers from this type of disease, or it's a brain condition called alexithymia, which makes it hard for him to feel emotions, which then in turn kind of makes him an outcast at school because he doesn't feel these emotions. So we're kind of following him and all of the things that have happened in his life and how he reacts to these emotions, like taking account of his brain condition and how other people react to how he reacts. I think it's a beautiful book. It was beautifully written. This is a translated piece of work, and it was originally written in Korean, and it was translated to English, so sometimes the translations make it lost, but I still think it was a beautiful book. I think it has a beautiful meaning, and I think a lot of people could do well with this book. Another one of my favorite books of this year is ASAP by Axio. Loved this book. The first book, XOXO, was featured in my end of the year wrap up, and now we have the second book, ASAP. Obviously this was going to be shown. I feel like Axio can do no wrong. I loved this book. We will have no Nathaniel Lee and no Minzori slander on this channel. None of that will be happening. Also, if you see the lighting change, the clouds are moving. I live in Texas. The weather is quite unpredictable here, but the clouds keep moving, so my lighting is gonna keep changing. I apologize. But yes, ASAP by Axio. In this book, it is a second chance romance. We are following two idols. We are following Nathaniel Lee, who is part of the band XOXO, who was also a part of the band in the first book. And we are following Minzori, who is the daughter of the CEO of the entertainment label that Nathaniel Lee is under. And they had some type of relationship before, and something happened. There was a scandal, and they were basically told that they can't date, and something happens which then leads them to have some type of forced proximity, and then they have to kind of confront their feelings that never went away. So yeah, I thought this was such a good book. I loved the relationship between them. Oh, beautiful. Axio really knows how to write like really like young relationships. I think it was so cute. It was so cute. And also this book made me, if you like K-dramas, you will like this book and XOXO. It makes you feel like you're in a K-drama, so keep that in mind. If you like K-dramas, please read this. It's so good. Also, if you like Jenny Han, you would like these books. It's just good. Just read it, please. And then there's also another book that I feel like was just one of the best romance books that I've ever read. That book was Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I think the romance in this book was the healthiest like representation of romance that I could ever find in any romance book ever. The way that these characters talked to each other and expressed their emotions and expressed things like what they didn't like, what they did like, I thought was very refreshing to see in a romance books. In a lot of romance books, you just see a bunch of miscommunication, you see a bunch of like misunderstandings, and in this book you don't really see that because they acted like grown adults who knew how to talk to each other and knew how to communicate what they liked and what they didn't like. And I have yet to find a book that had as much of a like healthy, easy relationship, like, and not like what happened in like within this book was not easy by any means, but how they handled it made it seem like it was easy because they acted like grown adults that know how to handle situations. So yeah, love this book. If you are looking for just a refreshing, healthy romance, this is the book for you. Next question was the best sequel you've read so far in 2024. I've only read 3 sequels, not including like books that are part of interconnected standalones, because I wouldn't necessarily count them as sequels. I don't know if other people do, but I don't. But I have read 3 sequels this year. I've read City of Ashes, which is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series. I've read The Well of Ascension, which is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy, and then I've read Ruthless Vows, which is the second book in the Divine Rivals duology. I don't know if that has like a different name. In my opinion, I will grab the 2 that, in my opinion, I think were the best. All of them were 4 stars or above. All of them were 4 stars or above. But my 2 favorite had to be, one, Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I love this book. I know this book has gotten so many mixed reviews, but I personally loved it. I love politics when it comes to fantasy books. I like knowing the ins and outs of the wars and all of that technical stuff. I really like that part. So I knew that I was gonna probably like this book. Love the romance. Like the romance, I do love it, but when it comes to a fantasy book, it's not what I'm focused on personally. But I did really like this book. You do see a little bit of romance, but this book is definitely focused more on the war and their individual past and what they're doing individually, and not as much romance, which is why I think a lot of people didn't like this, because the first book had so much romance and this one doesn't have as much. But I did really enjoy this book. I can't really tell you what this book is about because this is the second book in a series, so telling you about this book would be spoiling the first book. But I'll tell you what the first book is about. I have it right here. Divine Rivals. The first book is basically about these 2 rivals. They're workplace rivals, and they are Roman and Iris, and they have these magic typewriters that kind of connect them, and they're sending letters back and forth to each other during this war. One person does not know that they're talking to the other person, and yeah, that's all I'll give you, because I did go into this book. I didn't go into it super blind, but I went into it blind enough where I didn't know too much, and I think it made me enjoy this book a lot more than, I don't know, it made me enjoy this book a lot more. But yeah, and with this vows, we are just going off of what happens at the end of this book. There is a cliffhanger at the end of this book, but luckily after you read this book you go right into this book because it's already out. So yeah. Next is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I actually just finished this book like a couple days ago. I finished it on Monday. It is currently Tuesday. No, I finished it on Sunday. It's currently Tuesday. And I have quickly grown attached to the characters in this book. I was told to read this book by my manager, and he did his big one right there. He did his big one, because I do love these books. I do, but these books are long and you get really like invested with these characters, and so many things happen in this book where forewarning, if you guys plan to read these books, do not get too attached to these characters. I'm just gonna tell you that. Do not get too attached to these characters, because you never know what is gonna happen. You never know. The ending of this book is quite crazy, something that happened that I wasn't expecting at all. But I gave Ruthless Vows a 4.7 and I gave this one a 4.5. I liked the first one more than I liked this one, but just by a little bit. The first one was a 4.75, this one was a 4.5. The only reason why this one, because this one's a lot of politics, like I said, I really like politics, but this one was a lot slower than the first one, which is why I can't rate it any higher than a 4.75. But still loved this. I love the characters, I love the found family in this book, but it was very, I feel like, repetitive, but I still loved it. So don't let my opinion stray you, because it was still an amazing 600-page book. It was great. Okay, next question. New releases you haven't read yet but want to. I have the two right in front of me because these are the two new releases that I'm the most excited about. I'm obviously excited about other new releases, but these two probably the most. Actually, there's another one, Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I actually have no idea what the book is about, but it's a Riley Sager book and I love his books, so that as well. Put it right here. And also The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I actually had this on my June TBR and I didn't end up getting to it, but I still really want to read this before the summer ends, because as we all know, I love Christina and Lauren's writing in their books. All of their books that I've read by them has been 5 stars, so I'm not expecting anything different from this book. It's just, I'm just so excited to read this book. I love their writing and their characters and the way they do everything in their entire lives. I just love it. I just love it. And then also Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Of course, I have to read Yours Truly first, which I do still have. Like, I do have that book and I do plan on reading it. I've read Part of Your World. Whoa. I've read Part of Your World. I just have to read Yours Truly and then I will get to this. But like, the fact that this starts with a Reddit post is hilarious to me, and I love Reddit. I think Reddit is hilarious. I think Reddit is amazing. So the fact that this starts with a Reddit post just calls to me, because I love Reddit. So I'm very excited to read these two. So these two plus Middle of the Night are 3 new releases that I really want to read but haven't read yet. Next question. Biggest surprise. Okay, so the biggest surprise to me was The Honeymooners by Christina and Lauren. So the first book I read by them was Love in Other Words, and I gave that book a 5 stars. This book, however, because it was the first book I read by them and this is the second book I read by them, I wasn't like getting my hopes up too much, and the reviews that I saw of this book were not great. So I was very much like, I don't know. But this surprised me because this was a 5-star book, and all of the things that people were saying about it, I was just like, I don't understand. We were reading a different book. We were not, but like I've said before, people have different reading tastes. Reading is so subjective, so people like some books that I love, other people may hate, and some books that other people may love, I may hate. So it's very, very subjective. But this was a big surprise to me, considering the reviews that I have read. I loved this book. It was so good. And in this book we are following Olive and what was his name? Ethan. Yes, Olive and Ethan. And basically in this book, her sister, is it her twin sister or is it just her sister? I think it's just her sister. Her sister Amy is getting married, and his best friend or his best man is his brother Ethan. And Ethan and Olive don't like each other, or so we think. They don't like each other, and basically the entire wedding party, including the bride and the groom, gets food poisoning from something that they ate at the wedding, and these two did not get sick at all. So this honeymoon was unrefundable. It was not refundable, so Amy told Olive to go on this honeymoon, and Ethan went with her. So it's forced proximity, and since it was booked for a honeymoon, it's one bed. It's just, chef's kiss. And the third act breakup did not bother me as much as other third act breakups bothered me because I felt like this was realistic. It was handled in a realistic way. It was so good. It was a 5 stars. Of course, it was so good. But yeah, so this was my biggest surprise this year in a good way. Now, the next question was biggest disappointments. I have two biggest disappointments. Actually, probably 3 because I wasn't counting like books that I don't own. One of the books that I don't own that was a big disappointment to me was Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I felt like that was purely physical, and it's really crazy because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it was so romantic, I could feel their chemistry. I felt absolutely no chemistry between those two characters. I don't even remember the name. Pippa and someone else. Was her name Pip? Pip? I don't know. I did not feel any chemistry between the two characters whatsoever. I felt like it was purely physical. Like they could not keep their clothes on at all. Like at all. Like that is not all a relationship is about. Most of the time relationships consist of clothes being on. Like, come on, guys. But yeah, I felt like it was purely physical. There was no like real love behind their actions. It was purely lust. So that was my deal with that book. Yeah. And the other 2 disappointments, which I'm kind of scared to to say them, or to say one of them, because this book has some diehard fans, and I'm kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie. Don't come after me in the comments. Let me grab it. Please don't come after me in the comments. I will cry. So let's do the one that's not as scary first. 1922 by Stephen King. This wasn't a reading vlog. I just didn't enjoy it. I feel this was 120 pages and I felt like it could be shorter. Crazy, I know. But I just didn't enjoy it. I felt like there was so many details that we didn't need. I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Maybe other people like it. I just didn't like it, and it hurts my heart because I'm a Stephen King girl through and through. But I didn't vibe with this book, and that's okay. It's okay. And the next book, this was also in a reading vlog, so you guys probably already know what this book is. Magnolia Products by Jessica Hastings. I did not like this book. I gave this book a 3 star. It was a 3 star. And, you know, like 3 stars is not like a bad rating, but like it's not a good rating. I loved the writing in this book. The writing was great. The characters were not, the plot was not, but the writing was amazing. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I'm not gonna say anything at all. Next question. Favorite new author. So I do have 2 favorite new authors. I give authors 2 books to decide if I have a favorite author, because I can't like read one book and be like, oh my gosh, favorite author. I feel like that it doesn't make, I don't do that. Other people can do that. I don't do that. So I have 2 new favorite authors, Axio and Christina Lauren. Those 2 are my new favorite authors. I have given both of their books that I've read 5-star books. So I think they deserve a spot on my favorite authors, along with Frederick Bachman and Riley Sager and Stephen King and Adam Silvera. They deserve to be up there. They deserve to be up there. So we have 2 new additions to my favorite authors list. Next is newest fictional crush. So this one, I wanted to say Zayden so bad, but that was last year. I need to get over it, but I'm not going to, but I need to. But it's never gonna happen. So for this year, my new fictional crush is Archer from Archer's Voice. As it should be. I love Archer. The man that he is. Love. Like, I think he was so like vulnerable with his emotions, which is really hard to find in a male main character. But I think the way he cared for Bree was beautiful. The way he opened himself up, beautiful. The way he still had so much hope in the world despite what he has been through, I could never. Love Archer. Books that made me cry. So I have not read a book so far that has made me cry. I'm currently reading a book that's probably gonna make me cry, and that is, it's not near me because it's over near my bed because I'm currently reading it, and that's Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. I have been reading that book, and there has been multiple times where my eyes have gotten teary. Someone's cutting onions, obviously. But yeah, I'll probably cry at the end of that book because I cry at the end of all of his books. It's just a normal reaction when it comes to his books. But if I had to choose a book that I probably would have cried at, no, I can't even say I would have because I didn't, but I feel like if I was more sensitive than I already am, I probably would have cried to Almond. Now, books that made me happy. So one of the books I do own, and that is ASAP by Axio. This book made me so happy. It was just so cute and fluffy, and I loved it. There was some parts that kind of got a little deep, which I wasn't expecting with Axie, but nonetheless, still loved it. It was still so cute. And then the next book is The Riley Effect. I don't own this book, but The Riley Effect by Nicole Marie, I think her name is. So good, so cute. I actually related to a lot of what happened in this book, like with her anxiety, with her being a animal science student, with her being in college. I definitely related to a lot of what was happening in the book, but I just thought it was cute. Their connection was cute. The entire, like, their friends, all of it was so cute. So I enjoyed reading that book as well. That book made me very happy to read. My apartment is right in front of a dog park, and there's dogs barking outside, so if you can hear that, I'm so sorry. Favorite book to movie adaptation. I think I've only read one book that has a movie adaptation, and that is the Mortal Instruments series. These two, The City of Bones and City of Ashes, which has been made into Shadowhunters. I love Shadowhunters. I love Shadowhunters with my entire body. Like, I love that show. I've watched it 3 times. Love. So that has to be my favorite movie adaptation because it's the only book to movie adaptation or book to show adaptation that I have read this year. So yeah. The next next question is the most beautiful book you've received this year. I don't think I've gotten books, have had books given to me this year, but I do buy a lot of books, as we all know. And I think the most beautiful book that I have gotten this year is Snow Globe by Axio. Not Snow Globe by Axio. Snow Globe by Soon-Young Park. I think this is a beautiful cover. Obviously I've started it, but I think this is such a beautiful cover. But also, that's not even the best part. That's not even the best part, because look at the naked hardcover. You can't tell me this is not the most beautiful book you have ever seen in your entire life. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. So yeah, that's probably the most beautiful book that I've received this year, or have gotten this year. Next is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Originally, it was the 3rd book in the Deathcast series by Adam Silvera, but he has announced that it's coming out in 2025, the beginning of 2025, I think he said. So I can't use that one anymore. So I'm gonna say Daydream by Hannah Grace, which is the 3rd book in the Maple Hills series, the series with Icebreaker and Wildfire. I have rated both of those over 4 stars, I think. So I'm excited for that. And then also Business Casual by BK Borison. I rated In the Weeds 5 stars, and then I think I rated Love Light Farms either 4.5 or 4.75. They were both very highly rated. So those two I am both very excited about. I have very high hopes for those books. What books do I need to read by the end of this year? So I have 3 books. None of them I have near me, so I am not gonna go and grab them. But Ready Player One, I've had this book for entirely too long, entirely too long. I've had this book before I moved to Texas, which was 2 years ago. Your girl needs to read that. Happy Place, which I've had for, I think I got it a couple months after it released, so I don't know when that was. And then also Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I've also had that book for a long time. I bought that book very early when I moved here, so I've had the book for at least a year. So yeah, those are books that I need to read this year. So yeah, and then how many 5 stars have I read this year? Let me count, because I have rated quite a bit of books 5 stars this year. Okay, so after counting, because I keep all of my rated books on here, I have rated 10 books 5 stars this year, which is more than a lot of people have gotten this year. I don't know if it's just because I've said this before, I don't know if it's because I'm a soft, like an easy rater, or if it's just because I'm picking books that I know I would like. I don't know. Maybe it's both. But I've given 10 books 5 stars this year. And now the next question. Is this the last question? No, I have a couple more. What books do I want to reread this year? So I want to reread my 5-star books. Just 2 in particular though. I want to reread Red, White, and Royal Blue. I've been talking too much. It's getting a little confused. But I want to reread Red, White, and Royal Blue because I love that book. Gave that book 5 stars when I first read it. Oh, beautiful. And also I want to rewatch the movie, and I do think that I am gonna be able to reread that again another time because I do have a video planned with them. And then also The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, because I love that book. I first read that book I think in 7th grade, and then I read it again in 8th grade because I switched school districts, so we read it again in 8th grade. Will forever be one of my favorite books, will forever be one of my favorite movies. So yeah, but I want to do a video reading books and then watching their movies, and both of those books can go into that video. So yeah, but I also think I want to do a rereading 5-star books to see if they're still 5 stars. I don't think these 2 will change, but I just want an excuse to reread them, and that will give me an excuse. And a book you enjoyed with mixed reviews. The Night Shift by Andy Crown has so many mixed reviews. Some people, I see like some people being like DNF'd at like 10%, and then some people being like, oh my gosh, 5 stars, loved it, and then some people be like, it was okay. I gave this book 4.75 stars. I thought it was just a cute, quick read, and that's what I needed at the moment, and that's what I got, and it did what it was supposed to do, and it was a 4.75 star for me. I didn't have to think at all while reading that book, and I loved that for me. And now 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. So for this question, I wrote like, for some of them I had like answers for them, and any Frederick Bachman book. That's so real because all of the books I've read by him have been 5 stars. So any Frederick Bachman book, and also The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, I do think is going to be a 5-star because her track record is giving me 5 stars. So yeah, but other than that, I don't know of any other books. I feel like any Adam Silvera book will be a 5-star for me because I love him as well. Stephen King. So yeah, that's what I think are gonna be 5 stars. But that was the last question I had. I don't have any more questions to answer for you guys. I hope that you guys did enjoy this video and seeing what I've read so far this year and how I felt about what I've read so far this year. Put your answers to these questions down below if you guys want to. I would like to see what you guys have read this year and what your favorite books of the year or your disappointments of the years or whatever. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday.